Thank you guys for joining me for another episode of Keeping It Real with America's Supermom. I am so excited to have my next guest. I have Barbara Beckley here. Only thing I can think of with her is Diamond Jaw, and we'll get into what that's about. But we met. Did we just meet through Facebook or LinkedIn? Do you remember? I think it was Facebook.
Facebook,
Oh,
yeah.
Celebrate You. It was through Celebrate You,
It's a
a
story.
Facebook group. And yeah, so let me go back to the story, y'all, so y'all can kind of be up to speed. So, you know how like you join these groups. And so at this time I was doing some podcasting, and as I had different guests on, they would ask me to be in their group. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm all excited trying to build my following on Facebook. So I'm in like over 200 groups at this point, I think. So I'm in the Celebrate You community. I went to make a post. So I would like repurpose my content, put them in different groups, doing it all just mass posting. And I got a note from Celebrate You, and they were like, this violates our, guidelines or whatever. And I really didn't get offended by it because, like I said, I was in like 200 groups. So I wrote them back and I was like, I am just so sorry. I'm in all these groups, and I was telling them what I did. And the next thing I know, they invited me to be a guest on their show. And so I remember I was supposed to be me and another guest. Well, the other guest never showed up. So I thought it was going to be 30 minutes. It ended up being an hour. And from that point, they started a person of the month, a member of the month. And I was the first one to be named the person of the month. It was in April. And, I just want to say that it's just a testament of staying true to your core beliefs, treating people the way you want to be treated. I could have went off and said, I can't believe, and it was kind of rising up. Okay.
I know what.
Just in transparency, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I was thinking, you're in all these groups. It's not like you have a calendar about what you're supposed to be posting. Just admit it and get over it, right? But for some reason, it really stood out to me because of what happened after that.
Yeah.
I felt that like there was this conflict, and I didn't express it to them, but it was with myself of just letting go of whatever that was. And I just humbled myself. And as a result, I mean, we have just been like inseparable ever since. She has a platform that I have a show on. So we've done several interviews together and programs, events, and never met in person. Okay?
I know. That has to happen next. That's on my bucket list.
Yes.
That's on my bucket list shows. I need to come because I was in Georgia before. I need to come back when things get a little bit, But yeah,
definitely. So we've known each other for over a year. We talk on the phone late night when I'm supposed to be asleep. I'm on the phone with her, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna say this one more thing. And so we're on the phone for hours in the middle of the night. But anyway, with all that being said, I want to introduce Miss Barbara Beckley to everybody. So tell us a little bit about you before we get started into some great conversation.
Well, you're just amazing, and I follow you. You're just amazing, and that's the one thing about just a little quickly the story that you gave is you never know where the opportunities are going to lie. You never know where you're building those relationships. That's going to be just amazing. So I'm so glad. See, real quick, she could have did a right instead of a left instead of a right, and then we wouldn't be talking right now and doing all the things that we did. So
true.
I'm glad that you brought that story up, Lachelle, because it's important when you make those decisions. You really have to think about it just a little bit before you start saying, "What did they just tell me?"
And I don't know, was it you or was it Lawana?
She said it. Yeah.
Okay, so I couldn't even remember because we're all like tight, y'all. Okay, it's crazy.
It was so it was like But no, this is just about me. As you said, I'm I'm a keynote speaker, and my mission is basically about purpose and women, basically.
Mm-hmm.
My story, basically, ever since I was like 7, 8, 9, and growing up, always had the stigma of that I wouldn't be about anything, that I wasn't about anything, that
Mm.
why are you even in school? I mean, kids used to ask me questions like, why are you here? You're stupid. I mean, they would really say that to me, Michelle. I mean, I
That's
think about
crazy.
this, so it's popping in my head. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, they would really, at the end of every day of school, I'd just be crying my heart out, going home every day because I feel like an alien. I felt like I really feel, you
Mm.
know how they say, are you from a different planet? That's how I felt when I was going to school because they kept saying I shouldn't have been there.
Wow.
Yeah. And, through that, and then, we have everybody has the stories in your life. And
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people, it used to be, you can be what's the old saying? You could be a victim of your stories, you can be
Mm-hmm.
victorious. And I
Mm-hmm.
decided, and we can make those decisions just like we do with everything else. I decided to make it victorious. And I decided to
Mm-hmm.
say, I don't want to, especially women, I don't want any women to feel devalued. I want them to feel
Mm-hmm.
loved. I want them to feel cherished. I want to feel like queens, as I always call the queen diamonds. And through the things of struggles in my life, the diamond story came in my life 3 times. From a
Mm-hmm.
teacher that really cared about me when I was going through that. My dad, before he passed, when I was turned 17, he used to call me the diamond in the rough. And then after that, after he passed away, I wasn't going through, I was going really badly because he was like my rock,
Mm-hmm.
and wound up going to, after I found out he passed, I had to wind up going to the hospital because I kind of lost it. And they had to kind of
Mm-hmm.
take care and see, okay, is she gonna be okay? And they put me on the suicide watch, basically. And I was thinking about it, I was contemplating it, very much so in the hospital. But the
Mm-hmm.
nurse came in and saved. I have to say, she was, you know how they said there's a tool. She was the tool that connected to my father. And I know this is gonna sound, people will be like weird about that, but she connected to my father so he connect back to me. And she
Mm-hmm.
said something in the hospital, what my dad used to always say, that you're a diamond in the rough. And she
Mm-hmm.
kept saying, she said, something's telling me, Barbara, that the person that passed away, you're kind of this diamond. It's something about diamond in the rough or something. And I'm telling you, after that, Michelle, that's changed. You know how they always say, what changed? What made a difference? What kind of,
Right.
and that did it right there. And then that's where the name of my, my company, my baby, I call it, is the Diamond Factor. And I just
Mm-hmm.
want other women to really understand how powerful they really are. How
I
powerful
love
they really
that.
are. Yeah. And sometimes we don't, we forget because we're doing everything else. And Michelle can attest to this because she's not only the queen bee, the diamond queen, but American Supermom for us.
You are so sweet, girl. My head is not gonna fit in this box. Okay.
Or the little cute little hat you have on your head. It's so sweet. So, I just gotta but we gotta remind each other. And there's so many
Mm-hmm.
now. I don't know if you noticed, Michelle, and I've been noticing this lately, which is kind of disappointing with this. And I'm not even blaming the pandemic because a lot of people want to do that, and we're not going to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Mm-hmm.
tonight.
Right.
But people are fighting each other,
Yeah.
especially women. We're fighting. It's like those. I don't know. In my mind, I look at it like you're at a big store, and there's like certain things on sale, and you know how you see those women. I got it. No, I got it. No, I'm gonna get it. I'm
Right.
gonna get it. And this is what I'm feeling like in business. It's like they're going to these other lanes, other things. It's like, wait a minute, who are you? Remember who you
Yeah.
are. You're
So
unique in
true.
your own way. Why are we fighting each other? This is ridiculous. We should
Yeah.
be coming together. And you know
Now,
what? I
and I
like
think,
how we do that. And and
yeah,
other
now, so
people.
you bring up a good point, and I want to kind of stop here for a minute because so many people don't know how to collaborate.
Yeah.
And I probably was one of them people fighting in the store. But, this is how we say it. This is it. Listen, there are so many haters. As soon as you get popular, they are hating on you, jealous, envious. That's how it sounds,
Mm.
right?
Hmm.
So we're not saying that we're fighting. We're saying that we're just doing what we're supposed to be doing, and everybody else is hating us for whatever reason. So how do we get out of that? To
Hmm.
where for me, I just thought this is scarcity, in my view, because I'm thinking there's only so many seats at the table.
Yeah.
So if I'm nice to this person or they're going to one up me or something, I'm going to miss my seat. And, like musical chairs, we trying to fight over this last seat,
Oh,
right?
I got it.
So how do we get out of that
Yeah.
mindset and really understand that it is abundance, and there is more than one hamburger chain besides McDonald's, right?
I love you always use that analogy, and it sticks in my head every time I'm doing business stuff and everything. I say, "Oh yeah, the hamburger story by American Supermom." Yes, I remember that. The knowledge, the wisdom, telling you. But
Mm-hmm,
see, I think the thing I've asked that question, and I kind of came to maybe, hopefully, a little conclusion that you can think of that you
mm-hmm,
maybe put in your mind is that it has to go back to you.
mm-hmm,
It has to go back to you,
mm-hmm,
because something in you is telling yourself, I feel like, that, I mean, maybe I'm not too good enough, so I need to run over there and get that before somebody else get it, because I don't want,
mm-hmm,
and it's like it's all like what we're talking about, the mindset all the time. We always talk about the mindset, right?
mm-hmm,
So I think it comes back to you, because we can only control ourselves.
mm-hmm.
So if I always tell people tell me, well, I feel sad today because such and such said something. Well, why you let such and such make you sad? And they're like, well, because they said this and this. And Bar, what do you think? You know how people get attitudes. Also,
Right.
when you start asking questions, and I'm like, I'm not
Right, you're
sitting here
supposed to be agreeing with me. Yeah.
attitude, but I'm just letting you know that we can keep our peace in any
Mm-hmm,
situation. And a lot of people don't believe that. Even
mm-hmm,
when you lose someone or something, it don't have to be a person, it could be a job, it could be a business. You have control of how you're going to go. Like we said before, you're going to go right or go left.
mm-hmm,
It's up to you in your mind and your heart to say, okay, am I going to sit here and just trash and be like, screw everybody, I hate everybody, or am I going to say, you
mm-hmm,
know what? This is another opportunity for me to step up now, be creative, like we've been
mm-hmm,
doing in this last 2 years and more, and say, let me move to the next level. So I say that
mm-hmm.
because we need to make the decisions when why are we running all over the place like in this store? Who are you?
Right.
American Supermom is amazing. She got to tell us that every day. I don't have to be running and catching and all that. No,
Mm-hmm,
people are going to love American Supermom because who she is, and they're going to gravitate to her. The
mm-hmm.
Diamond Girl, Barbara, if you want to call me Diamond Girl, but
Right.
people call me all different. So they called me the Ding Dong. I was like, Ding Dong. They said the Ding Dong of Diamonds. I'm like, really? I don't like Ding Dong. I don't really like the Ding Dong.
Girl, look.
But Ding Dong had to go. This stuff. Ding Dong had to go. But I'm just saying, people might resonate
Yeah.
to me. And I said
Mhm,
nothing's wrong with that. There's
mhm,
7 billion. Somebody reminded me the other day, 7 billion, whatever people in the world, and we
mhm.
fighting over two people or one people or whatever. How we doing?
So true. So
Yeah.
true. I
So
love that. I mean,
somehow,
that is really some truth right there.
yeah.
And so when we're talking about getting back to us, and I love how you really break it down for women to know their purpose, right?
Mhm.
What is it that we need to really focus on so that we can find that purpose? Because that really is the basis of a lot of our motivation, understanding. It really is kind of like that whole beginning and foundation for what it is that we do, whether it's personal or professionally. So,
Mhm.
what are some things that we possibly get wrong about our purpose that we need to fix?
Well, I feel like it's not so much of fixing, it's
Mm-hmm.
much of reflecting back to who you are. You got
Mm-hmm.
to go back to basics. You know how they say, let's go back to basics. Let's do
Mm-hmm.
purpose 101. And purpose
Mm-hmm.
101 is that, what are your values? What do you like to
Mm-hmm.
do? What are you good in? Ask a friend that's going to tell you the truth, and the friend that
Mm-hmm.
loves you. I'm putting it that because I asked a friend a few weeks ago, and they said, "Oh, you suck," and they meant it too. And then I asked myself, you know what? Why do I suck? I mean, that's a whole different going down another rabbit hole. But I'm just saying. But I hope they said that to help me and not to just hurt, because some
Right.
people do that. So, but you need to go back to basics, and you have to ask yourself that, what do I like to do? What are my values? When I was
Mm-hmm.
younger, what was I dreaming about? What did I
Mhm.
want to be when I like I said, when you grow up? Some people do it 50, 60. We're still growing up now because we're still thinking of things to do, and we see certain things that we've learned throughout the years of our lives that's moving
Mhm.
us in different directions. I never thought in a million years, Miss America Supermom, that I would be a keynote speaker somewhere.
Mhm.
I didn't even think that I could just talk to the person next to me at my job when we were going to work because I was that shy girl. I didn't think,
Yeah.
remember 7, 8, they were talking about I was stupid. They said I wouldn't make me. So that was in my ear, in my
Mhm.
ear. And then when, my tides turned with my life, I found out that, what, any means necessary, Barbara needs to get it together
Mhm.
and
I
find out
love
that,
that.
that use this now, use it, use the
Mhm.
story now to be the album. Now I'm using this a lot to be the lighthouse to the world. So
Mm.
that's why you need to go back, purpose one on one, I keep calling it, and
Mhm.
take a step. If you got to go in the living room, away from the children, away from the husband, whatever, go in your car, lock the doors, whatever, put a night light on. What do you have to do? Get a piece of paper and pen, because I always say writing it down so you can look at it all the time and write down those values you have. Write down what you're good at. Write down what you love. Write down what your passion is. Write something that you'd be like, oh, no one had to pay me for none of this, and I would just do it all the time.
Mhm.
Do it all the time. And that's when you find out what your purpose, find out who you are. You got to go back to who you are. Especially when
Mm.
you start going in your business, you start looking at others and getting that, oh, what's she doing? I better do this. I better do one up on her. Why you gotta do one up on
Mhm.
somebody? Do one up on you. You're your own. You should be competing just with you. You know
I
how they say
love
that's the
that.
only competition is you, no one else. We all compete
Mhm.
with each other. We get into the same lane and we look at each other and we do a high five. That's what we should be doing. Not so much of a low.
I love that. I love that. Now, so you mentioned seeing yourself, just starting out on your journey to being a keynote speaker. So, somebody who's watching, what are some of those baby steps that were on your journey that we can kind of start with? Because some people, you have a big goal, but then it's like, man, it can be overwhelming to the point that you don't even know where to get started.
Yeah.
So, what did that journey look like for you when it came to where you are today?
Well, I always knew that I wanted to be some type of leadership type of person in the world. I always knew that,
Mhm.
even when I was going through my shyness and dealing with my own stories in my life, feeling like I wasn't valued. But I always said, when I bust out a Barbara, I kept saying that when I bust out of and get the real Barbara going, I want to be that lead by example. I want to help others. That was just in my mind because I just seen so much hurt through my stories, through
Mhm.
other women's stories, and then this beyond. So I said, what do I need to do? I was like screaming out. So in my mind, education. My dad always told me, he said, no matter what you do, get that education. Get it.
Mhm.
If you got to go to college, certificates, whatever. So I was just this, and I wasn't really talking to him because I was shy. So I said, okay, I go to school, go to school, go to school. But there was a missing factor. I was so busy trying to educate myself, so busy being in the books, being on the computer, all that. I wasn't communicating with others still.
Mhm.
That was the missing link. So I
Mhm.
still wasn't working on that communication with, okay, I'm talking to you right now or anybody else.
Mhm.
And I think, that's why I always say, look at the signs in your life, because when I was at work and my manager, this is when I had a good manager.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna say, and she looked beyond, she seen something beyond what I was doing, and she said, Barbara, I know what you want to do, but people need to get to know who you are. You need to learn how to network. You need to know how to talk to people, and I know because you talk to clients. But you need to talk if you're trying to get to the next level, especially as a manager. So at that time, I was looking at that. You need to learn. People need to get to know who you are, see your credibility, and you need to talk. So she basically introduced me to Toastmasters, and I have to give them credit. I really do. I'm in there. It's 12 years now. I've been in Toastmasters.
Wow.
12 years. And I went from the shy, didn't want to get up in that podium to talk, to say who I was. Because the first thing you do is they call icebreaker, where you just break your eye. You just say basically who you are, what you do, what you like, whatever you want to say for 5 minutes. And I sat up there and said souls for 5 minutes because I didn't, I was nervous. I think to this day, Michelle, I'm still the trophy winner for saying, because they said, you said 74 souls. I'm like, I said, They said you said 74 souls in 5 minutes. But the funny part was the nice thing with Toastmaster, whatever you do up there, they're going to do this afterwards.
Yeah.
Because they still want to encourage you just for getting up there, even if you did 74 souls. And that was at the way the beginning of my life.
Mm-hmm.
They still want to encourage you to go up because they don't want to be like, oh, you suck. You said 74 souls. Do you think I'll walk back in
Mm-hmm.
that door the next day or the next meeting?
Right. So true.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
So I
Now,
started that with that. And just to add something to that, what you said about the stepping stones of getting
mm-hmm.
there. Once I joined that, because it's a communication leadership organization where they teach you the skills.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing I did is they give everybody, or they sign a mentor to you. And because this was at work, so it was another lady at my job that she was there for a longer time.
Mm-hmm.
And I would tell everybody, no matter what you think you know, you might know, this, you read things, looked on Google, you looked on YouTube, listen to the people that's been through and it has got to one level to the next. The biggest thing is listening, because if I didn't listen to what she was telling me and what to do and how to do things, I know I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. So I have to give kudos to my mentor, because I wouldn't have been there, because I needed to listen. I needed to sit back and listen to what she was saying to me, because she's the one, every time I would say no, she would say, no, we're going to say yes to this. No, we're going to say no to that. I'm not going up there to speak and be no contest. No, we're going to say yes to this, Barbara. I mean, that's what makes it. So it's like every time I was going to say no to something that she was trying to get me to that level, I'd be like, but I'm not ready for that. She said, no, I think you are ready for that. We're going to work on that. I said, but I don't think I am. No, you're ready for that. So it was that balance thing. And then after a while, when I see what she was doing and I was getting skills as she was telling me, say yes, then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, now I see what's going on. And that's what's going. Yeah.
I love that now. And, and knowing how and when to listen.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times, how did you gauge that? Because, we tell ourselves lies. It's like, well, I know I probably should, but I'm really not going for that right now.
And I did say that.
This, or you know what I'm saying? So how did you get to the point to where, you know what I'm saying? What was it that really just did it for you to where you just were able to listen? Because I think this is where a lot of people miss the mark.
Mr. Mark.
They're not quite coachable. It's like, oh, I already know this, or that's so far beyond where I'm at. I don't even know how to start. You know what I'm saying?
And see, I seen when I didn't listen, or if I didn't do certain things, then the results that I was looking for in me and what was supposed to happen wasn't happening. Either it wasn't happening or wasn't happening fast enough or something, it was just something. And I'm like, what? And I was getting frustrated with myself. And then my mentor would come back to me and she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, well, it seemed like I did this. I know what you said and everything, but I was over here doing whatever. And she said, well, how's that going for you? And she would say that.
Right.
I said, it ain't going too well.
I love that.
There was some struggle, believe me. It wasn't an easy road with Barbara. And who's Ann Pecklow, I give her credit. She's my mentor, still there to the day, and we still talk. But she was doing some push. We were doing some push and pulling to the point sometimes I would not answer a phone call. She said, Barbara, you just missed the Toastmaster meeting. I said, oh, really? It was what time? Oh, I thought y'all changed the time. I had a project. Then she started coming to my desk and standing there and said, it's time. We have 5 minutes. You have lunch. I was like, oh, how did you find me?
I love that because, this is the thing. People see you now. And, you're on Celebrate You. You've got your own station, right? You've got Facebook, and then you have your own channel. You're with your own network. Well, you're with a network, okay? But that network is coming, girl. Apparently, that just came out of my mouth. But
lady.
So people see you now doing all these things and being in the, keynote speaker, and they just think, wow, she's always had it like that. So I love to be able to highlight that because a lot of people they kind of make a journey up for you. They meet you while you're at this space, and then they create a story that they didn't even ask you about. They just you got it all together. So that's why I wanted to bring that up.
But you're so right, Michelle. People, because a lot of people, when I say I was really shy, and they look at me like I'm lying, they like, who do I talk to? Because your story is wrong. I mean, people have literally told me that. Like, I don't know where you come. What are you talking about? I need to talk to. And who was your mentor? Because I need to talk to her too. I mean, they want like proof, and I was
Right.
like, I could give you all the witnesses and everybody. People see me because I was struggling. I was really struggling because I was still dealing with those thoughts and those words. Words are
Mhm.
so powerful. I just want to tell people right now, please edify people. Do not, no
Mhm.
matter if they're different in your eyesight, don't treat them different in a bad way. Treat them different that they have uniqueness and it's a special gift that they have,
Mhm.
and that's why they're who they are, and make them shine. Because like I told you, if I if I really was an alien, I was looking for my spaceship at 8 years old, because I
Yeah.
wanted to leave that school because the way they was just talking and torturing me. No hitting or anything, just a lot of words that was going through that small young brain of mine.
Mhm.
And I had to fight. Even today, I mean, I'm 53 years old right now.
Mhm.
There's something that came up last week, Michelle. There was another speaking thing that I was looking at to go to, and
Mhm.
they were talking about, they had all these requirements and stuff and what you needed to know. And then I just out of the or I'm just sitting there reading it, just reading the requirements, and I just heard something in my head said, "You dummy, you can't do that."
Mm.
I'm looking around like, now I know I'm not nuts. I don't want people to think I'm crazy. But that was
Right.
that it came back in my head again after all these years.
Mhm.
And I shut it down. I shut the computer down. I shut the site down. And I had to go somewhere and listen to something, because that's another thing. That's the tool that I use too. Soon as those thoughts come, I mean, soon as they come, because they can just
Mhm.
stay there quickly if you don't get rid of it. And I had to
Mhm.
wind up turning Eric Thomas. I love Eric Thomas.
Mhm.
And talking about, you good enough. You just need to, because and I needed that at that
Oh,
time. What are you doing? Stop wasting time. You need to get out there. What are you, so he does all that. I'm like, yeah. First I was like, but they said I'm stupid. You ain't stupid. Who said that? That's only in your head. It was like he was talking straight to me. And he does that. And you heard Eric Thomas speak before.
yes.
And he be on
He's been
it.
on Clubhouse, girl.
Oh, he been on, I missed him on Clubhouse. Well, how did I miss Eric Thomas on Clubhouse?
Girl, they didn't even have a title for the room, I think, or
Oh, see,
something.
that's
So
that's how they sneak them in.
you
That's how.
gotta read the hallway, girl.
Oh, dang! You didn't ping me with it. No, you gotta
I
ping
know
me on
this was
Facebook.
girl, I don't know, probably about a month or so ago.
Oh
And I don't
wow!
know if he, has a regular room or anything, but
No,
yeah.
I think he just pops in like like.
Mhm.
But yeah, so after I was listening to him, that thought got out, and then like maybe hours later, I went right back to that website and I said, you know what? Start typing in, some certain things they want I didn't have. I said, what, whatever.
Mhm.
Put it in there, and now I'm one of the be one of the speakers out of so many others. Just
Amen.
by moving forward, because even
Mhm.
if I didn't have everything, I say I'm still going to try. All they can say is no, and that's
Mhm.
what I always tell everybody. You say that too to me a lot too, American Supermom,
Mhm.
where you say what they can do, Barbara. All they say is no, and then you
Mhm.
move on.
Mhm.
But if you
So
didn't try
true.
at all, then you would have never knew if it would have happened or not.
I
You
love that. Yeah, that's so true. So, I mean, this has just been some great insight because so many people, we tell our own self these stories
know?
and, they just don't serve us. And I love how you mentioned that this is something that happened 7 and 8 years old.
Yeah.
Fast forward to now, it's
Mhm.
still a struggle that we have to realize, I think a lot of people have this mindset that, whatever happened in the past kind of stays in the past and
Mhm.
it never comes back again. You can just throw it into the sea of forgetfulness and think that it's never going to come back,
Mhm.
but I think really owning a lot of these stories and understanding them, it helps us to recognize when it does come back.
Yes.
It's just like, you go into your house and you're like, okay, somebody's been here, or I didn't leave this way. Somebody came in and did something. And I think that's so true for us to think about what our mindset.
Mhm.
Hey, you know what? This was not how I was thinking 5 minutes ago. I don't know what happened, But this is not in line with what is serving me for where I am today.
So true. Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
So, how do people get a hold of you in terms of, and what is it that what kind of programs and stuff do you have?
Well, thank you for asking, and thank you for letting me be on your wonderful show. I've been wanting to be on the show for the longest, so I'm just, this is just an honor and a privilege to be on your show.
Oh, you
So
go.
to get me, you can go to www.barbarabeckley.com. Yes, I have my website up. Yay. You can go there. I'm a purpose strategist. I'm also a social media strategist as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I do basically, I help women after, we kind of find out what your purpose is. And sometimes you might know already, but then you got to be visible. And
Mm-hmm.
Spirit of Supermom expertise at that. We know that, but I like to help women in business, especially small. If you're in a small business too, if you're
Mm-hmm.
just getting started, you've been there a few years, you're trying to figure out, I don't know how to do this social media thing, I don't know how to do this clubhouse thing, I don't know how to, I'm there to help you and be your guide. And one program I got coming up in September, it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be September. I was trying to do it after September 11th because I really didn't want to have it on that day because we're trying to honor.
Mm,
But
yeah.
September 18th, I'm starting. It's a 6-week workshop. It's called Social Media Secrets for the Biz Queens. I do it
Mm-hmm.
every quarterly now. I just finished up another of the 6 weeks last week.
Mm-hmm.
Had 10 wonderful ladies in the group. And basically, I start you from who are you, just like we're kind of talking about now. What's your
Mm-hmm.
business? What's your product? Who's your avatar? You hear that avatar word all the time, but I
Mm-hmm.
dig a little bit deeper into that about who you. We're gonna make up you're gonna have a name for the avatar. You're gonna know what they make. You're gonna know who they are. You're gonna know what they like. You're gonna know that just all that. We get all to that because I always tell you, but I don't care if you're on social media, you're doing a book, you're doing a coaching, whatever you do. You need to know first of all who you and your product is,
Mm-hmm.
so you know how to strategize where to put yourself to get the visibility.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that out just through this first 6 weeks that a lot of women, even though they thought they knew, and when we did the exercise, they're like, I really don't know really who wants my product, who's in paying for this. That's what you
Right.
need to know.
So
you
true.
so we get into that, then I get into different platforms of social media, get studying on that. So maybe you shouldn't be. You should be over here, not over. Be on LinkedIn more. Look at the groups over there instead of Facebook. Maybe that's not working for you. So we talk about that. Then we grind into content. What kind of content to put out there? Should you do a
Mm-hmm.
challenge? Should you not do a challenge? Who you talking to? Do they even know who you are? Have you did a little storyline about you in Facebook? Those stuff that we talk about, we get dig deep into that. And
Mm-hmm.
then we basically challenge ourselves and look at Google and say, okay, what's Google saying about me? You pull up Google, put your name. Okay, where Barbara's not showing up. Your visibility is not hitting. Test. We do things
Mm-hmm.
like that to see how we can generate and get you going. So those are 6 weeks right there for 1 hour, just 1 hour. I ask you to be with me. And at the end, we basically go through everything. I do a social media assessment, and then we can move on, and you can work with me in other areas. But yeah, I'm really happy, Lachelle, about this 6 week workshop that I do because I'm finding out there's so many women
Mm-hmm.
that are learned that are really opening up and the light bulbs going on. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's what we use social media for, to be social.
So true. It is real. I'm telling you, it is so true. I mean, it's just like, you get into your business and you begin to do what other people are doing that are in your industry,
Yeah.
but you don't know why you're doing it. Right? It's crazy. And then it's like, oh, that's what a funnel is, or whatever, right? But you don't know. You just like, girl, I don't really know what it is, but
Yes.
they say I need it. And
Yeah.
then you just, then later on, it's like, okay, I really didn't even need this. I could have been doing, Google Calendar, and I'm
Yeah.
over here paying for a funnel when I only have 10 clients. Okay.
You know the drill, Miss. You know the drill.
So
Just
true.
wasting money, wasting time, energy, all that. Yeah. So
Hmm.
yeah. That's why it's so important to strategy. Whatever you're doing, and I think that's the word of the century for myself is strategize. You need to just strategize
Hmm.
and just talking about just. I mean, I know our time is near, but just talking about
Hmm.
Clubhouse. We before we were in the virtual green room. before we did the show here, that we were talking about how we're both knowing that we need to pull back, look at what we're really doing. What rooms are we going to the clubhouse? Is it really instrumental to what we're trying to do, far as getting the knowledge, being on the stage, listening? Sometimes I go in a lot of rooms just listen, and some people be tagging me to come up, and sometimes I don't want to come up. I just want to just listen to the conversation. I want to listen to the I want to just see. I'm trying to gain some things now. You don't have to be talking, but it's good. I don't want to stop people because that's how you get the visibility. So you need to go up there too.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's so keen about understanding that, when you are, what I do is, I was listening to this guy who spoke today, Dan Clark, and he said, you may not be able to control what happens, but you can control what you do next. And I thought that was so key. So you might be on there saying, oh, I'm going to listen. But if you go in a room and they ask you to get on the stage, how is this fitting into your strategy? If your strategy is to get on stages and have an audience, I mean, I think we really don't realize what we're doing. Okay, so if you're listening, it's good to get content. But if you're on stage, they can consider you an expert. You see what I'm saying? So you over here listening versus being recognized as an expert. And I'm not saying every stage is that way, but a leader has a voice that a lot of people may be influenced by. And so when you realize that, anytime that you can speak, just never turn that opportunity down. I mean, I just think one of the lessons that I learned from Clubhouse in April, I was packing. It was a night that I was on it, getting ready to travel for going out of town. I was going to be driving with some of the kids. And so I'm packing, getting everything together, and I'm in this room, and I really didn't know but two people that were there, the host and one other person. So they had us do our introductions and everything, and then they had us do this exercise. So we all did it. Then the host was talking about this gentleman who he was bringing on stage. Either he was bringing him on stage or pinged him in the room or something. But he went into this whole story about how great the guy was and all these different things. And so I didn't know who he was. So the guy started talking, and he said he thanked him for his introduction and went into his little story doing this exercise. And then he says, well, I just really want to thank Lachelle. And I'm thinking, what? I'm looking at the phone and I'm like, is there another Shell in there? Did he say Michelle? And I thought he said me because I didn't know who he was. And he said, yeah, I had some health crisis and I had to go through these treatments. And I used to watch her Facebook Lives a couple of years ago. And I just was so floored by it. He said, I just want to thank you. He said, that really encouraged me. He said, my memory is a little shaky because of the treatments and stuff. He said, but if I recall, you would do these videos on Facebook. And I said, yeah, that was me. And I remember what led up to those Facebook Lives was me being scared, and I got somebody to do it with me.
Okay.
So I got on their platform, and we had a little series going, and that's how I got my confidence. But I say that to say I remember how I started.
Yes.
And this person caught a glimpse of me doing what I should have been doing. And it wasn't until I went to Clubhouse that I found out what kind of impact it had in their life. So, I just think it's amazing how you just never know.
You never know who you touch. That's why I said lighthouse. That's why I keep saying the new thing I'm saying, Lachelle, that we lighthouse. You're lighthouse for that man. You were lighthouse for him to get to the next level that he needed to that he needed at that time. You were that light. And you just starting off. See, you weren't even, like you just said, you were just getting your confidence level together, saying, okay, I got to do this. It looks like I got to do it. So let me get on video. And he's seen even through all that.
You never know. You never know who's watching. That's what I would say.
Nope.
So, just like today, so anybody who's out there, look, reach out to Barbara. If something she said resonated with you, have a conversation, get out of your own head. I always tell people, stop talking to yourself and talk to the person in front of you, because you're not telling yourself nothing new. Let somebody else give you some new information.
Right.
So, but we just want to thank you so much, Barbara, for coming on and your great words of wisdom and insight. And I could be here for hours, right?
I know we be talking. I miss talking to you so much. You are amazing. I'm telling you. Awesome, awesome. American Supermom. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Thank you. Well, we really appreciate you being here and sharing. And so, what final words would you like to share with the audience before we wrap it up today?
As I always state, I was saying a little while ago about your uniqueness, about you being different than another person, a negative in your life. That difference is not for you to stop what you're trying to do. That difference is not there to hold you back and give excuses. That difference is there to make you even more great than you are. That difference is there to show others that they can do it too. That difference is there to give you encouragement to say, hey, I'm a unique person and I have something to give to the world and to myself. So when your uniqueness and that difference comes up and you start saying, I'm a little bit more different than the other person, take it and say to yourself, that is my special sauce. That is my gift to me to help me grow, to help me be who I am, and to help the world.
Oh, that was beautiful. Now tell everybody how they can follow you, what shows you have, your panels or whatever, you want to share. Because you got a lot. I forgot to, we have a little roll call.
What is a roll call?
All the stuff you've got going on.
Well, right now I've been focusing on the Diamond Factor Experience Show with Barbara Beckley. It comes on under my page, my Facebook page, my personal page, Barbara Beckley, and also the Diamond Factor group. It comes on every day, 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. I always tell everybody else, please do the other zones. I can just only do. We come on 5 days out the week, Monday through Friday. We have experts that come on, talk about marketing, mindset, finances. I interview a lot of authors and speakers, and the list goes on. And I just really just love that place is, if you want to come on, it's like American Supermom has now. I believe in giving visibility to people so you people get to know who you are. You can come and be a guest on the show. So that's, I'm really, really, working really hard on that. I also have one-on-one interviews with ladies in business that if they want that and their own video and all that kind of good stuff, we can work on that for you. So those are some of the things, just some of the things that I'm doing that I really want to just uplift even more, because I'm really, really in tune now of making sure that people get visibility and that I can give them that platform that people will see them. I mean, really see them, so they reach out to them. So that's what I'm doing now. So yeah, come tune in sometime, and you never know, you're going to see American Supermom there.
Oh, yeah, I'd say, hey, always you have great content, you ask great questions, and it's a lot of fun. I enjoy being on the platform anytime that I can be there with you. I mean, it's always a lot of fun. So thank you guys so much for watching today. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. We'll be sure to answer those for you. But we just want to thank you guys all for watching. And remember to have those conversations, because that's how you grow. That's how you get to be a better version of yourself. So we thank you guys for joining us, and we will see y'all on the next episode. Bye for now.
Bye.